Долго, здравствуйте. Слышно, да, меня?
Да, да. Добрый вечер.
Ага.
Все, я подключила
Но меня не слышно,
трансляцию.
Olga. Секундочку.
Не слышно?
Да, слышно. Ага.
Ага, вас хорошо слышно, все в порядке со звуком.
Мгм.
Так, трансляцию я уже встроила. Сейчас я вас
Ага.
сделаю организатором и покину тогда класс после того, как мы стартуем. Ну, чтобы дополнительно трафик. Мне кажется, что, возможно, это тоже может влиять.
Хорошо, хорошо.
Вот, а потом тогда, если нужно будет, свяжемся или в чате перепишемся после этого.
Хорошо, хорошо. В чате перепишем, да. Все.
Хорошо. Так, у нас 18, в принципе, мы можем стартовать. Да,
Да,
готовы?
да, да. Да,
Все,
готово, да.
отлично. Сейчас я пока видео остановлю и звук выключу тоже после того, как
Мгм.
скажу вам, что стартовали. Так, ох, ничего у нас сегодня. Много народу уже.
Да, 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 да.
Так, все, наш, стартуем.
Ага.
Готово.
Спасибо. So, hey there, everyone. I hope you can hear me. So, we're going to start our second lesson today. So, first of all, I would like to know if you can hear me. If you can, please type yes. So, today is our second lesson. And like I said, it's going to be the most important lesson. I'm going to reveal some important points. And also, I would like to know more about you all. So, would really appreciate if you could tell me once again, why do you need this exam? Why do you need IELTS? What is the required score? Whether you need a band 7 or a band 8. And also, guys, I would like to know where you're from. Which part of the world? Type the country, would really appreciate. And then when are you plan to take the exam? Are you plan to take the exam in a month, in 2 months, maybe in 3 months, or maybe in 6 months? So would like to know more about you because that way I believe I can be helpful. So would really appreciate once again if you can tell me why do you need this exam? Why do you need IELTS? The required score, whether it's a band 6, 7, 8, or 7.5, 6.5. And also, yes, where are you from? Which part of the world? I see someone is from the UAE. That's great. And also, when are you plan to take the exam? Are you plan to take the exam in the nearest future? Okay, so I see that Sahar from Pakistan is planning to take the exam in a month. Vidal in 3 months. Andrew Martins from Nigeria, exam in Jan, so on the 7th of Jan. Okay, so that's, I guess, in 10 days, maybe 10 days away. Okay, so need band 5. Band 5 is not a very high requirement. We always prepare students to achieve more than 6.5. So we prepare students to achieve 7 and higher. We also have a student from Zimbabwe, but teaching in UAE, 8.5. Plan to take the exam in Jan. So we have many students from the UAE. Okay. So guys, wonderful. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that. And I see that some of y'all, you need band 7, 7.5, even 8.5. And also I see that many of you are planning to take the exam in the nearest future. Okay, great. So today we're going to focus on speaking and writing. So first we'll start with speaking. So I'm going to show you what you should do in order to achieve a band 7 or higher in IELTS speaking. So it's a very important section. It doesn't matter how fluent you are. It doesn't matter how often you speak in English. But remember, to achieve a very high score in IELTS speaking, you need to answer according to the marking criteria. So make sure what the examiner is looking for and meet all those requirements. So remember, when it comes to IELTS speaking, there are 4 criteria. So there are 4 criteria. So we have coherence and cohesion. Sorry, guys, fluency and coherence, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Let me just, yeah, guys. So when it comes to speaking, there are 4 criteria. We have fluency and coherence, pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. So guys, sorry for the connection. I hope you can hear me. Mm-hmm. Guys, can you hear me? Yes? If something happened, there was a small interruption. Okay, fine. So I don't know whether you can see me, but yeah, fine. So remember, if you want to achieve a very high score in speaking, you need to answer according to the marking criteria. So in IELTS speaking, remember, there are 4 criteria: fluency and coherence, pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. So you need to know what you should do in order to achieve a very high score in every criterion. And that's what we're going to do now. Now, remember, for fluency and coherence, you need to develop your answers logically. So that's a very important part, because coherence is all about logical structure. In other words, you need to sequence your ideas logically. If you do that, you can achieve more than 7 in this criterion. Then avoid hesitations and restarts of sentences, or try to minimize hesitations. It can happen to anyone, including a native speaker. So if you hesitate too often, then the examiner might feel that you're not that fluent in speaking. Now, there are 2 types of hesitations. The first type is based on knowledge. Now, if the examiner sees that you're hesitating because you don't have much knowledge about the subject, he will not minus marks. He will not reduce your score. But if you are hesitating because of the language, because you don't know what words to use, because you are struggling to construct sentences, that can lower your score. So make sure to minimize hesitations. And the best way to do that, guys, is to practice, speak out loud, record yourself, listen to your recording, and this will make you understand why you're hesitating. Maybe you might hesitate because of complex structures, because whenever you try to construct complex structures, you might hesitate. Maybe because you're limited with your vocabulary, and that could be the reason why you're hesitating. So there could be many reasons for this. Then use transitions and linking words correctly. Now, that's a very important part. So you need to use linkers properly and also speak at a good speed. So when you speak at the exam, you don't have to speak too fast. You don't have to speak too slow. You just need to know how to maintain a moderate pace. Now, look at the model answer here. Look at the question. It says, what do you like about your job? Well, there are a number of things that I appreciate about my job. Firstly, it's the working environment. We have a very organized structure, and all of us work as a team, which is very important for me. On top of that, there is a lot of job satisfaction. In other words, it's always pleasing to see your customers satisfied with your work. So as you can see, guys, there is a logical structure. Like, firstly, it's a working environment. And then we have explained why. In the next sentence, we say we have a very organized structure and all of us work as a team, which is very important for me. On top of that, there is a lot of job satisfaction. In other words, it's always pleasing to see your customers satisfied with your work. Now, tell me, please, how often do you sequence your ideas when you focus on IELTS speaking or when you answer IELTS speaking questions? I want you to type whether you do it or whether you don't do it. Now, how often do you sequence your ideas whenever you see such questions? Like, what questions? Like, what do you like about your job? What do you like about your hometown? What do you like about your city? So whenever you see these type of questions, how often, guys, how often do you sequence your ideas? How often do you use a logical approach to answer such questions? Do you do it very often? Is this the first time you understand what is coherence? If you do that, please type yes. If you don't, say that I'm going to do it in the future, because that way, I'm pretty sure you will understand how to approach such type of questions. So it's a very important part. Okay, so very good, guys. Okay, so that's great. That's great. Okay. Now, when I spoke about the speed, remember, I told you, do not speak too fast and also don't speak too slowly. Now, here, as you can see, after well, there is a comma. After firstly, there is a comma. After, in other words, there is a comma. So whenever there is a comma, try to make a short pause. When there is a full stop, try to make the pause a bit longer. So I'm going to read the model answer again. Look, it says, well, there are a number of things that I appreciate about my job. Firstly, it's the working environment. We have a very organized structure and all of us work as a team, which is very important for me. On top of that, there is a lot of job satisfaction. In other words, it's always pleasing to see your customers satisfied with your work. So guys, the next point is about pronunciation. I'm going to show you what is chunking. So whenever you speak, try to have a short pause after a comma, especially after an adverb or linking word, right? So try to make a short pause. When there is a full stop, try to make the pause a bit longer. Now, that's how we prepare our students. Whenever we prepare for the speaking part, we show our students what they should do for every criterion. We will train them to speak like this, and then we will provide feedback based on the marking criteria. So we will always try to understand in which criterion the student is performing really well and in which criterion they should focus more in order to increase their score. So that's a very important part. In case you have questions, guys, you can type and I'll be more than happy to answer. So remember, once again, for fluency and coherence, you need to develop your answers logically. You need to avoid hesitations and restarts. So minimize it. Always remember that if you try to restart your sentences, that's not a very good sign. The examiner can lower your score. Use transition and linking words. So whenever you're adding a point, use linkers such as moreover, furthermore. If you're speaking about the results, you need to say as a result, that is why, right? If you're giving a counter argument, use linkers such as however, nevertheless, or having said that. So these things are very important. I'm really surprised nowadays. I mean, many vlogs, YouTube channels, they don't focus much on these things. Only a few, they focus on the marking criteria. So when you prepare for this exam, especially for speaking, you must receive individual feedback on your performance. You can't just attend a coaching class or a group class where there are more than 20 to 25 students. And, for the teacher, you're just another student and they might not focus much on you. And that's why, guys, I've seen quite often students struggle to achieve a very high score in this exam. So please pay attention to this. We have just focused on the first criterion. Now let's move on to the next one. But look at another model answer. What do you like about your university? I love my teachers. I love the way we are taught. I love my batchmates. Now, that's how quite often students answer such questions. Now, this is actually a band 5 or a 4.5 model answer. But look at the next one. The same question. What do you like about your university? Honestly, I feel privileged to study at my university because I'm satisfied with almost everything. Firstly, I admire our lecturers. They are so committed and always willing to help us. On top of that, I'm happy with the quality of education. In fact, my university is well known for the teaching standards. And finally, I shouldn't forget to mention the overall atmosphere. There is a lot of positive energy around, which is motivating. So do you see, guys, the sequencing? And do you see that every point is elaborated? We have given reasons for every point that we mention. Now, once again, firstly, I admire our lecturers. They are so committed and always willing to help us. Or we can say because they are so committed. So we're giving reasons why I admire our lecturers. So that's a very important part in fluency as well. That's very important. So make sure to elaborate your ideas. The same goes with writing. Whenever you come up with reasons, you need to elaborate your ideas with proper points. So when you come up with a point, and you need to give appropriate reasons for those points. Now, that's how we prepare in our IELTS expert course. Today, our expert course is in a special offer. So remember, guys, we always provide feedback based on the marking criteria. When you join our IELTS expert course, and especially even the ones who are taking the exam in February, I'm pretty sure you can prepare effectively with us. So once a week, you're going to have lessons with our experts. So we have a team of certified IELTS trainers and ex-examiners. So they will provide feedback based on the marking criteria. They will teach you how to answer or how to give a very good answer. They will also help you to expand your vocabulary. So the expert course today is on a special offer. You will understand that it is a great bargain. So that's why, guys, if you look at our results in speaking, they speak for themselves. Quite often, our students, in their first attempt, not in their second attempt, not in their third attempt, but in their first attempt, they achieve band 8 or maybe 7.5, a 7, 8.5, and even a band 9. Rosanna was actually my student. She took the exam in 2019, and she achieved a band 9 in her first attempt. And actually, it was all because of the the ability to meet the requirements, or understanding the marking criteria and being able to deliver accordingly. So guys, it's a very important part. If they can do, you can do it as well. So now let's move on to the next criterion, pronunciation. Now, in order to pronounce, when it comes to this criterion, you need to know how to pronounce words properly. And in order to pronounce words properly, yes, listen to native speakers. Focus on how they stress on different words. So that's a very important part. On top of that, you can always visit a special website, which is called oxfordlearnersdictionaries.com, oxfordlearnersdictionaries.com. So whenever you come across a new word, you can type this word. You can check whether it's a noun, verb, adjective, or an adverb. If it's a noun, it'll also show whether it's countable or uncountable. And also, you can check how you should pronounce a particular word. So it's a very helpful website, oxfordlearnersdictionaries.com. I would highly recommend that website. So yes, you need to know how to pronounce words correctly. And it's an important part in IELTS as well. Now look at the words here, desert and dessert. So desert is actually a big land with a lot of sand, and dessert is actually what we eat, right? Something sweet, a pie, and so on. It's always expertise and informative. Expertise and informative. Then, guys, learn how to chunk. You need to know how to chunk. That's a very important part. Chunking means piece. So that means when you speak, you need to break your sentences into pieces, like how a native speaker would do. So for example, I love my job. So after there is a comma. So you should make a short pause, like, I love my job. Look at the next example. Ever since I finished high school, I haven't met with my batchmates. Ever since I finished high school, I haven't met with my batchmates. So chunking is a very important part. You can listen to podcasts, watch documentaries, pay attention to how they stress. Whenever there are expressions, whenever there are adjectives, you stress on the adjective. Like, he plays an important role in our company. He plays an important role in our company. So that's an important part here, guys. So focus on this. So chunking means breaking a sentence into pieces while you speak. In other words, you need to make natural pauses. Natural pauses. Now, also, you need to know how to vary your intonation. Like, ever since I finished high school, I haven't met with my batchmates. Now, this is a complex sentence. And as you can see, the first clause is a dependent clause. Like, ever since I finished high school, it's a dependent clause. It's an incomplete thought. I haven't met with my batchmates. It's an independent clause. So when the dependent clause comes first, you need to have an ascending tone. Like, ever since I finished high school, I haven't met with my batchmates. Then you should have a descending tone. Like, ever since I finished high school, I haven't met with my batchmates. So that's a very important part in IELTS speaking, to have an ascending and descending tone. So please pay attention to this. So this is just the second criterion. Let's move on to the third criterion, vocabulary. Now, when it comes to vocabulary, you need to use uncommon words. You need to use spoken language. You need to paraphrase, and also you need to use the correct word form. Look at the model answer here. Do you like sports? I do. I have always been a huge fan of sports. To be more precise, I'm crazy about football because I just love experiencing tense moments. So what have we done here? We have used different expressions instead of like. We haven't repeated the word like in our answer. If we do that, it might not look that impressive. Like, do you like sports? I do. I've always been a huge fan of sports. To be more precise, I'm crazy about football because I just love experiencing tense moments. So that's how you need to kind of, structure your answers, guys. So once again, when it comes to vocabulary, you need to use idioms and expressions. If you don't use idioms and expressions, you can't achieve a 7 for this criterion. Now, the question is, how many idioms do you know? And also, do you know uncommon expressions and idioms for all the common topics in IELTS speaking? I'm asking a question, and you need to be very honest when you answer such questions, guys, because if you don't know idioms and expressions related to occupation, education, environment, family, people, technology, places, shopping, fashion, restaurants, food and restaurants. So if you don't know at least 3 to 4 idioms for every topic, the chances of achieving a band 7 or higher in IELTS speaking is very low. So please, you need to kind of keep that in mind. It's an important part. So that's why in our IELTS expert course, when you work on our platform, we have dedicated lesson to every topic from occupation, family, technology, hobbies, so music, books, leisure, places, sports, because it's very important, guys, because you have to know, you can check the band descriptors from the British Council, and over there, it clearly states that you need to use idioms and expressions in order to achieve a band 7. So please keep that in mind. So it's a very important part. So if you do use it, that would be wonderful. If you know that, it's great. Otherwise, you need to learn. Now, that's why, once again, I believe that our expert course has been very helpful because we always focus on all the common topics as well. Fine, guys. Now, let's move on to some uncommon words. Like, look at this. Instead of I respect my father, it's better to say I look up to my father. A beautiful view, a picturesque view. Now, look up to means respecting or admiring someone. So, guys, can you tell me, can you write a sentence using this expression? Like, who do you look up to? Now, I look up to my father because he has been a great role model for me. I look up to my father because he's knowledgeable and also he's been a great role model for me. Now, can you type and tell me a person that you look up to? Who is it? Who is that person that you look up to and why? Now, if you type your sentence, I'm pretty sure you're going to remember this phrase. If you construct a sentence using this phrase, you will remember it. So that's why I would ask you to type a sentence and tell me, I would like to know you. Tell me about a person that you look up to and why. So say like I look up to my professor because he has done so much for me, or he has achieved so many things, or maybe he's so knowledgeable. This way I'm able to provide my feedback. So I would like to see whether you have understood the meaning of look up to and whether you're creating your examples appropriately. Okay, so waiting for the examples. It's on its way. So Paolo, you can say, I look up to my mom because she motivated me to strive harder. I look up to my mom. Kulsum, I look up to my mother because she has sacrificed a lot of things for us. Well done, very good. I look up to my father because he's a noble man. Okay. I look up to my cricket coach because he trained me from my worst to my best. Wow, well done, very good. I guess you have a wonderful coach for cricket. I look up to football players for having the dedication. Okay. Great. Yes, Andrew. So you can say, that's why I look up to him, right? That's why I look up to him. Well done, Paulo. You restructure the sentence. Very good. I look up to my wife because she always motivates me, or she always motivates. Yeah, so better to say I look up to my wife. Yes, I look up to my wife, Ramesh. She always motivates me, or because of her motivation. Okay, so I look up to my father because he's a good man. So good is a common word, Vidal. So instead of good, you can say he's a fantastic human being, or he's a wonderful person, and also diligent, or instead of hardworking, diligent, active. So that would be much better. So that's why in speaking, we need to use uncommon words. I'm not saying you should do it or you should kind of overdo it, but you should use uncommon words and expressions, but it should be natural, because quite often people interpret this in a wrong way and they think that every word should be uncommon. It's not like that, but try to avoid using words such as good, bad, and instead of those words, try to use uncommon words like a good opportunity. You can say a lifetime opportunity. Well done, Odgu. Well done, Shabir. I look up to my brother because he supported me in my education. That's wonderful, Shabir, and great that you have such a wonderful brother. Well done, Sahar. Well done. Very good. So Niall says to repeat. Yeah, I look up to my husband because he's always there for me in all ups and downs. Yes, so that's great. Yes, that's actually a good one as well. Fine, guys. So let's move on to the grammar part. But before we do that, like I said, when you join our IELTS expert course, you will learn idioms and expressions, and also you will have, like, model answers for your reference. You will hear a candidate speaking or answering questions related to these topics. So occupation, education, technology, leisure, shopping, fashion, food and restaurants, information technology, sports, and social situations. So it's very important, guys. So you do need to kind of, use idioms and expressions related to these topics if you are aiming for a very high score. Guys, quite often students achieve low scores not because of poor English, it's because of poor preparation. The thing is, not long ago, I also had a meeting with an IDP representative in a South Asian country because, I was on a trip. And also they told me that quite often they have students who are taking the exam more than twice. So they take the exam 3 times, 4 times, because they failed to achieve their required score. And I respect the representative of IDP. He's an official IELTS administrator. So he told me, I feel sad for these people because we don't have quality preparation in our country. And that's why those students, they struggle. So these are not students who are weak, who don't have the capacity to learn. It's because they don't have proper guidance. Quite often when students prepare for this exam, they believe it's all about vocabulary. They believe it's all about grammar, but they fail to understand that there are 4 criteria in speaking. The same goes with writing. Now, quite often students fail to achieve band 7 in writing, and that's why they end up taking the exam so many times. I had a student from Dubai who failed to achieve more than 6. So every time she took the exam, she couldn't achieve more than 6 in reading. And that is because she didn't know the essential skills. She was not familiar with all the question types. She didn't know how to approach every question type in reading. It's an important part because it doesn't matter how many times you do practice tests. If you don't understand these essential skills, if you don't know the steps how to approach every question type, it's going to be very difficult to achieve a very high score. And that way we end up spending so much money on the exam, and also we end up spending a lot of time. And the most dangerous part is the frustration when we don't achieve our required score. So guys, try to understand what is required. Try to understand what is required, what you should do. And this way, I'm pretty sure you can achieve a very high score. So when it comes to grammar, first of all, you need to minimize your grammar mistakes. The next point is a very important part. Remember, you need to use a variety of sentence structures. And even to achieve a band 6, for this criterion, you need to use complex structures. Even to achieve a band 6, you need to use complex structures for this particular criterion. So it's an important part, guys. So that's why in our IELTS expert course, we will teach you tenses, conditionals, how to use inversions, how to use comparative structures, because quite often, remember, the examiner will ask you to compare different situations. For example, how have restaurants changed in your country? Or what's the difference between things made by hand and made by machines? So in a question like that, students just speak one side. They only speak about things made by machines. Or when they have to compare the past and the present, they only speak about the past or the present, but they don't use comparative structures like while, whereas, or for example, in the past, it used to be much cheaper, whereas now it has become quite expensive. Or in the past, only the rich could afford a good meal at the restaurants, whereas now I believe that, even a person with an average income can enjoy a very good meal in a swanky restaurant, or in a run-of-the-mill restaurant. So you need to know how to use comparative structures. That's a very important part, because the examiner is going to look for that. So guys, now let's do a task. Let's make it more interesting for you all. So look at this question. It says, do you like to read? Can you choose the best option? Or maybe you can choose 2 options, but can you choose the best option based on what we've discussed today? So you need to give longer answers. You need to use redundant words. Redundant words are like, well, actually, frankly speaking, you need to use a variety of sentence structures, even the tenses. And you should not repeat words from the question. So based on what I've said, can you choose the best option? Is it number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4? Well done. Number 4. Number 4, well, reading has always been my passion since it helps me to unwind myself. Number 2, I've always enjoyed reading because it helps me to unwind myself. Number 4 is a better option. We have also used redundant words. Number 2 is also not bad, but number 4, I would say it's the best option here. Number 4 is the best option here. So do you see, guys, do you like to read? Well, reading has always been my passion since it helps me to unwind myself. And as you can see, we have used present perfect. That means it's a passion that I've had from the past till now. From the past till now. So, well, reading has always been my passion since it helps me to unwind myself. Well done. Very good. Very good. So, yes, so that's why we need to use redundant words. So, well, actually, if you use redundant words, you will sound natural. So to achieve a 7+, based on all these criteria, we have 4 criteria in speaking. So to achieve a 7+, we need to give longer answers. We need to use words related to the topic. We need to use idiomatic expressions. We need to use a wide range of sentence structures with flexibility, minimize hesitations, sequence your ideas, and use linkers effectively. So every time when you speak, your trainer, your teacher, your tutor should provide feedback based on the marking criteria. They cannot just say like, oh, I love your opinion. Oh, I love the way you speak. But why? And also they need to tell you where you should improve. Now you need to question yourself whether you receive such quality feedback when you prepare for this speaking part. So that's a very important part, guys. So please do keep that in mind. If you're interested in joining me and my team, we will teach you and we will help you to improve your speaking skills according to the marking criteria. So that's why you will have weekly speaking workshops with our IELTS examiners. You will have 16 units with interactive tasks on our platform. You will have a personal tutor who will check your speaking answers. So they will listen to your answers on the platform and they will provide feedback according to the marking criteria. So you will have that individual attention. And then, guys, over 50 Band 9 model answers. And then at the end of the course, you will have 6 complete practice tests. And those practice tests will be assessed by an examiner, and they will provide feedback also according to the marking criteria. So that's about IELTS speaking, guys. And remember, the IELTS expert course is on a special discount. So you will not get courses for such prices. So it's really affordable. Do click and see what the price is, because I'm pretty sure it's a great bargain and you're going to work with professionals. And I think that's the highlight of the IELTS expert course. Now, when it comes to writing, remember, there are 4 criteria. The first one is task response. So when it comes to task response, always make sure to write the specified number of words. Now we are focusing on writing. So when it comes to writing, guys, you should always make sure to write not less than 250 words for task 2 and not less than 150 words for task 1. And when you write essays, your style of writing should be academic. It should be formal. And also make sure before you write essays to understand the essay question correctly. And also make sure to cover all the points of the task. I always teach my students to distinguish 3 components when they read an essay question. That means the topic, the viewpoint, and the question. So that's how so whenever you read an essay question, you need to distinguish 3 components: the topic, the viewpoint, and the question. The question could be, do you agree or do you disagree? Or it could be, what are the reasons and what solutions? Maybe it could be a discussion essay, but you need to distinguish 3 points: the topic, the viewpoint, and the question. So you should watch our video on our YouTube channel, how to write introductions for task 2 essays. So we have a YouTube channel which is called Master IELTS. Do check. You will find useful videos there. So over there also you have this video where we teach our students how to write introductions. So guys, it's a very important point. And when you write essays, you need to know how to write a very good introduction, how to write supporting paragraphs, and how to write a proper conclusion. So it's about building a wall, like Will Smith says. First, focus on the sentence structures, then focus on how to structure paragraphs. This way, you will write a very good essay. Now, when it comes to coherence and cohesion, you need to use paragraphs appropriately. So guys, can you tell me how many paragraphs should we have in a task 2 essay? How many paragraphs should be there when you write a task 2 essay? How many paragraphs? What is the minimum number? How many paragraphs should be there when you write a task 2 essay? Should it be just 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many paragraphs should be there? So if you say 3, that means introduction, 1 body paragraph, and a conclusion. What's the minimum number? When the examiner checks your essay, he would see how many paragraphs are there. And if it's not 4, then there's something wrong. So what I'm saying is the minimum number should be 4. Yes, introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. So there should be an introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. Well done. So there should be 4 paragraphs, or can be more than 4 paragraphs. 5 maybe, but there should be 4 paragraphs. Well done. Very good. Introduction, 2 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. Very good. Now, when it comes to vocabulary, guys, now let me just finish with coherence. So yes, you need to use paragraphs appropriately, use linking devices, arrange your ideas logically, like in speaking, support all ideas with relevant examples, and draw a relevant conclusion. So when you structure your paragraphs, remember there should be a clear topic sentence. The first sentence should clearly show what the paragraph is about. That's a very important part. And then you need to give relevant examples and reasons, and you need to have a proper flow. In order to have a proper flow, you need to use linkers. And then, guys, you need to end your supporting paragraph nicely. Now, that's why I'm saying there's a lot to learn. I'm just showing what you should do, but I don't have a lot of time to teach everything. But you guys need a step-by-step guidance if you're aiming for a very high score in IELTS. Now, when it comes to vocabulary, guys, you need to use less common words. You need to use topical vocabulary. You need to avoid repetition of words. When I say repetition of words, avoid using the same adjectives and adverbs, and also minimize the number of verbs that you use, the same verbs you use. So that's a very important part. And also, you need to be accurate with spelling. Because if you make mistakes with spellings, that can lower your score for lexical resources. Now, you need to check the band descriptors. It clearly states, like, if you make spellings, you can't go beyond a band 6. You need to use uncommon words. You need to use words related to the topic when you write essays. When it comes to grammar, guys, you need to minimize grammar mistakes. So that's why the common mistakes are poor structuring, poorly developing ideas, informal style of writing, and poor grammar and sentence skills. So whenever I read essays, I see these problems. Not long ago, we had a student from Dubai, but he was from Nigeria. So he just wanted to focus more on writing, and I was working with him. So his English is really good, but the only problem he had was the structure and how to organize when he writes essays. So we were working with him for 2 months. So in December, he took the exam. We are waiting for the results, but I'm pretty sure he will achieve a band 7 or 7.5. So I think he's in that range. So these are the common mistakes. Poor structuring. Can be very fluent in English, but the structure could be horrible. Or the inability to develop ideas. And quite often, even the ones who are fluent, their style of writing when it comes to essays is really informal. So for example, guys, let's say the reason, or maybe, for example, why people follow a poor diet. So we can't say people follow a poor diet because they don't have time. You can't use contractions. You can't say like people follow a poor diet because they don't have time. It is better to say the lack of time. The lack of time is the root cause to follow a poor diet. The lack of time is the root cause to follow a poor diet. Now, I have a question for you guys. Do you get feedback like that from your teachers or the online courses? Whenever they check your essay, do they provide detailed feedback? Do they show you examples of how you can make your writing better? If they don't do that, believe me, it's a crime, because that way you're not receiving proper feedback. Feedback in your essay writing is crucial because that will help you to understand how to improve your writing. Now, here, if we have to repeat the word, then we can use similar words. No, the thing is, we discussed paraphrasing yesterday, right? So there are three ways to change the word form, change the word order, or to replace certain words with synonyms. And I told you yesterday that, there is a sequence. First, focus on the adjectives, then the adverbs, then the verbs, and only then the noun. So whenever you are writing an essay, do not replace the subject with synonyms. Do not replace nouns with synonyms, because that can change the whole meaning. But you can always replace adjectives and adverbs with synonyms. That's quite easy. And you will always come up with more than one option. Now, we discussed yesterday, important, we can use crucial, pivotal, right? So that's the most important part. So whenever the examiner is checking your writing, they would like to see whether you have used a good range of vocabulary when it comes to adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. So please do not try to replace the subject with too many synonyms. So that's the answer for that. Fine, guys. Now, let's move on to the structure. Then I'll come back to the writing part. Now, we spoke about structuring a paragraph. I told you there should be a clear topic sentence, and then there should be a clear progression with linkers. So can you tell me which paragraph is cohesive, or which paragraph is structured properly here? Is it A or B? A paragraph that has a clear topic sentence and where there is a clear progression with linkers. Is it the first one or the second one? Take your time. Is it A or B? Yes. I think it's going to be a no-brainer for you all. Well done, guys. So it's A, right? It's A. So well done. Look at paragraph A. It says, the obvious reason for a stressful working atmosphere nowadays is the increasing level of competitiveness among employees. Consequently, this leads to a hostile atmosphere in the working environment. The best solution for this is for employers to create team activities. For instance, it is known that many international companies organize tasks focusing on teams, which have made the employees perform effectively in a relaxed atmosphere. So you see, guys, there's a clear progression, right? First, the reason, then the outcome, like consequently, this leads to a hostile atmosphere in the working environment. Then the solution, like the best solution for this is for employers to create team activities. Then an example for that, like for instance, it is known that many international companies organize tasks focusing on teams, which have made the employees perform effectively in a relaxed atmosphere. Now, guys, this is how you should structure your paragraphs. Look at B. Working atmosphere becomes stressful because people have too much to do. I think the work should be limited. It is the employer's responsibility to do so. Now, as you can see, there are sentences, but none of them are connected. You see, there is no proper connection. And if the examiner sees a paragraph like this, that's just a band 5. So you do need to question yourself. How do you structure your paragraphs? Do you know to structure your paragraphs logically? So each paragraph should have at least 4 to 5 sentences, guys. So every sentence there should be a function. Maybe the topic sentence could be the reason. The next sentence could be the example or the effect. So when you plan your paragraph according to the function of every sentence, you will structure a logical paragraph. Now, that's how we teach our students. That's why, guys, we have been quite successful with our IELTS expert course. If you join every week, you're going to have live lessons with me and also with my with our academic director. Then you'll have 14 units on our interactive platform. It's going to be so interesting, guys, because you'll be watching video lessons and you'll be doing interactive tasks on our platform. And you will learn all types of task to essay structures: reason solution, opinion, 2-question essays, and discussion essays. Then over 100 model answers, and most of these essays are written by our examiners. So they write these essays and they will show you how you should structure your essays as well. So there'll be explanation why those model essays are like band 8, 8.5, 9, and so on. Then over 400 words related to 12 common topics. Students will be taught task 1 writing separately based on the model they choose. So for example, if you're taking academic IELTS, we will teach you how to describe graphs, bar charts, pie charts. And if you're taking general IELTS, we will teach you how to write letters, like formal letters, semi-formal letters, and informal letters. And then, guys, whenever you receive feedback, you will receive feedback based on the marking criteria. And we will show you how you should improve and so on. So that's a very important part when it comes to essay writing. Now, guys, look, I'm going to show you another paragraph because here, again, I want to show how you should use linkers in a very effective manner. So we have a paragraph related to public transport. It was written by one of our students last year from Russia. So look at the model answer. It says, public transport has a number of advantages. Firstly, it's the most economical option to travel around a city. For instance, in Moscow, the monthly subway ticket costs 10 times cheaper than maintaining a private vehicle. Moreover, public transport can be convenient, especially during peak hours. This could be illustrated by the increasing tendency to use the subway during office hours. Therefore, the role of public transport will always be significant. Do you see the last sentence? It says, therefore, the role of public transport will always be significant. Now, as you can see, we haven't tried to use different expressions or phrases for public transport because it's not necessary. What is very important here is that, we don't use the same adjective and the adverb too often in our paragraph. So overall, guys, once again, for firstly, then giving an example, then when we introduced the next advantage, we used moreover, and then we have also explained it with another example. Like this could be illustrated by the increasing tendency to use the subway during office hours. So that's how you need to kind of, structure your paragraphs. So guys, now I would like to show you the road to achieve a 7+. Now remember, if you want to really remember words, if you want to master a skill, if you want to become the best in writing, if you want to become the best in speaking, doesn't matter which section or doesn't matter which skill, you need to follow this method. It's called the APIA method, or it stands for acquire, practice, implement, assess. Now, with this method, I'm going to show you how it will be effective and also why quite often students fail to implement what they've learned at the exam. So guys, remember the first stage is acquiring. So during the first stage, you learn all the essential skills. Now, if you attend a course or a class, that's the first stage. That's the learning stage. Step 2 is practice. So you become confident with the skills by doing practice tasks. So the more practice tasks you do, the more flexible you will become. Then guys, step 3 is implement. So once you become familiar, you will be able to implement what you've learned without any effort, without any stress, you see? And then guys, the 4th stage is assessment. So when you prepare, you need to follow all these steps if you want to master. Now, let me give you an example with listening. What do we do? Step 1, you learn all the essential skills, the 4 essential skills in listening. So we discussed that yesterday. So the first one is paraphrasing, identifying keywords, paying attention to distractors, and also predicting the missing words. Then you focus on every section and also the question types. And then you kind of, practice. So you should not start with practice tests until you finish with every section. And also once you learn the approach for every question type, you'll be able to do practice tests without any effort. Then guys, you'll be able to implement when you do a complete practice test, a listening test. And then guys, once you complete the whole listening test, you need to assess. You need to be analytical. You should not be critical. You need to be analytical. So for example, let's say you made 15 mistakes out of 40. So you have only 25 correct answers. See where you went wrong. Which section did you make most of the mistakes? Which question type? Is it multiple choice questions? Is it matching? And why? So this way, guys, you will understand what to focus on. Quite often, and actually I had a discussion a long time ago with a representative from the British Council, and she told me a very interesting point. She said, like, if students keep on doing practice tests without understanding where they went wrong, they'll keep on making the same mistakes over and over, and it will become very frustrating. So we need to keep this in mind. So that's why, guys, step 1, acquire. Step 2, practice. Step 3, implement. Step 4, assess. When it comes to writing, guys, if you want to achieve a very high score, step 1, focus on how to structure sentences. Then learn how to structure paragraphs, like how to write an introduction, how to write a supporting paragraph. Then try to become familiar with the essay types. Then start writing essays and then receive feedback. Try to understand where you went wrong based on the constructive feedback that you've received. This way, when you write your next essay, you will make it much better. So that's a very important part too. So that's why, guys, I would like to introduce our IELTS expert course. So the course is structured the following way. You will have weekly speaking workshops, either on Fridays or on Saturdays. Now, if you're from the UAE, from Dubai, I guess now it should be 8 p.m. for y'all. If I'm not mistaken, I guess it should be 8 p.m. for y'all. So you will have speaking workshops at 7:30 on Fridays, or guys, you will have it 11 a.m. Saturday morning. So that's how we will have speaking workshops every week till you finish the course. It's going to be like for 2 months, and you will have IELTS experts. And in every speaking workshop, there'll be only 7 to 8 students. So every student will have enough attention and enough speaking time. So that's a very important part. Then, guys, apart from the speaking workshop, twice a week, you're going to have live webinars. And most of these webinars are conducted by me. So if you like me, I'm pretty sure you'll find it useful. So you'll have live webinars. So once a week, you will have listening and reading. Once a week, you will have writing. So listening and reading, we will focus on different question types, different sections. So the live webinars for listening and reading is going to be for 90 minutes. First 45 minutes, we will do listening. Then we will do reading. Then, guys, on Thursdays, we're going to have writing. So we'll focus on how to write essays, the structure. We will also do grammar. I will teach you how to use the definite article, because quite often people get confused with that. Then, we will focus on how to structure sentences. We'll become familiar with the types of sentences. And apart from that, you will have access to our platform. So you will do tasks on a daily basis. If you can't do it every day, you can just cover whatever that should be completed on that particular week. So there is a plan, a nice plan where it will take you gradually to improve your skills. So that's how you will study with us. So remember, speaking workshops weekly, live webinars, and you will also have tasks on our platform. So guys, it's going to be effective because you will have step-by-step guidance teaching all the essential skills. So that means you'll be learning all the essential skills for listening and reading. And that's why you can see our students have achieved very high scores. Then you'll be revising grammar. Grammar is a very important part. So you will revise all the essential rules from tenses, complex structures, preposition, the rule of spelling, then actually whether to use a gerund or the infinitive. So all those things you will learn during the program. Then guys, vocabulary. It's an important part. So you will learn 400 uncommon words in 12 common IELTS topics. And like I said, because of the speaking workshop, you will have sufficient speaking practice and the examiner's guidance, because they're going to listen to your recording. You will have to record your answers and you'll need to send it to us, and you will receive feedback from an examiner. And the expert course is on a special offer because we have a New Year offer today, guys. So it's like you see the price on the screen. It's a special offer for you all, and it's a great deal. And all these things you're going to get for this price. And I'm pretty sure you can't even find a coaching class or a group lesson for this price. It's a special offer. It's a limited offer. And I believe that if you're aiming for a very high score, you should go for it. You should go for it, guys. Because for this price, even if you go to a restaurant twice, you'll spend this amount of money. To a very posh restaurant, I guess it'll just fly. Even nowadays in Dubai, you can't find an accommodation, or you can't stay in a good hotel for a day for this price. So I've been to Dubai and I know, or the UAE. So I think it's a great deal. It's your future and you're going to work with us. So I'm pretty sure you will not regret. And I guarantee that you will achieve your required score in your first attempt. So remember, guys, the expert course, you will have unlimited access to our platform for 6 months. So that means you will have access to our platform with the videos, with the interactive tasks, with the model answers for 6 months. You will prepare with us for 2 months. All the speaking workshops, you'll have it for 2 months. The webinars are going to be for 2 months. So you will have unlimited access to our platform for 6 months, but the overall program, you will have it for 2 months. Now, if you wish to finish the program faster, you can do that as well. And remember, the IELTS expert course has a special focus on writing and speaking. So I don't have to discuss that, guys, because during the program, we'll be checking 12 essays. Now, do your research. I don't know how much it is, but to check one essay nowadays, it will cost $20 to $15 by an expert. And even I saw that, some freelancing websites, inexperienced people, they charge $15 to $20. But here, guys, your essays will be checked by ex-examiners and experts, and they'll provide feedback based on the marking criteria. We believe in our program because our students, they have achieved a very high score. The results of our students, they speak for themselves. So that's why, in case you don't achieve your required score, you will have our full support without extra payment. So when you join Master IELTS Online, you pay only once, and the support will be till you get your desired score, till you get your required score. So guys, do you have questions? Now I'm going to take your questions. So please feel free to ask. So Jerry has a question. He says, how much could be? So the price I've mentioned. No, unfortunately, we don't have physical classrooms. We prepare online. Jerry, unfortunately, we don't have physical classroom. But anyway, you're going to have lessons through Zoom. It's very comfortable for the speaking part. But the webinar platform that we use is also kind of very convenient. I guess it's the future, so it should not be an issue. So guys, we discussed all the issues students face, and the expert course, with the expert course, we are able to kind of, give solutions for those issues. Not enough practice, not understanding the question types. Quite often students don't know how to write a proper essay. And whenever they write, they receive, or maybe the guidelines are not appropriate. And that's why they don't know how to improve their writing skills. So here it's like you pay for a service that would help you to achieve a very high score. I don't know about Feb. Things could go up. To be honest, guys, for $99, if we compare to the other online courses, it's really great. And it's a great price. You can't get it somewhere else. So also remember, what you're getting here, I know that even in some countries, like many countries, they don't offer a proper plan. Like I said, like when I was in another country, like, for a vacation, I was in Sri Lanka 2 weeks ago, and I understood that they told me that they don't have proper courses where they guide students or where they prepare students effectively. So that's a very important part. Don't worry, we'll see. Neither once you get, we'll look into it. And good luck with your job seeking. So guys, it's on a special offer. Like I said, we'll be increasing the price because it's a special Christmas offer, a New Year offer. So for 2022, so it's a great deal. You're going to get a lot of options here, and it's your future, right? Because if you achieve a very high score in IELTS, it's going to open doors for many things. And that's why, guys, you need to invest your time and your money in the right things that would reap benefits in the long run. So you just need to keep that in mind. So I believe that you can't get a better option than this before. Paulo, yes, we will provide, when you join the course, we will provide PDFs with writing. So for example, you will have a guidebook for different types of essays, for example, sentence by sentence. For example, when you write an introduction, what should be the background sentence, the detailed background sentence, thesis. Now, when you structure paragraph, the topic sentence, then the example, discussion, conclusion. We will show you, and you'll have these guides for your reference, and it will be with you. So these are PDF files, Paulo. And also you'll have model answers for your reference. So for speaking and writing, you will have, I would not call it as printouts, but PDF guides. So guys, you can ask questions. Please feel free. We're more than happy to answer your questions. Oh, well, Andrew saying, my exam date is fast approaching. Can it fit in your schedule? Depends on when you're planning to take the exam, Andrew. When I plan to take the exam, and then I can give an answer. Jan is actually, I guess it's within a week. And well, it depends. We have a different program, which is even more effective if you're taking the exam in the nearest future. I think Valerie, our consultant, by the way, guys, Valerie will get in touch with you, and she will tell you whether it's the right option. Okay, guys. So if you are interested, please join us. But remember that, we can accommodate only 5 to 6 people because, already so many people have been joining us from the last week. So we're going to start our first lesson, soon after the new year. So the first lesson will be on the 3rd of Jan. It's going to be on the 3rd of Jan. So make sure to join. And so I'm pretty sure, guys, you will achieve a very high score. So I wish you guys all the very best. I wish you guys only the highest score. And I'm looking forward to teaching you. And believe me, with the IELTS Expert course, you will learn everything that is required to achieve a very high score. So guys, until I see you again, it's goodbye for now. So have a great evening. Bye-bye.